working here. Give it up for the Stein Eriksen bacon this morning. That was delightful. It's always a treat. You know, the bacon keeps me coming back. Well, welcome to, God, you threw me off. Email Insider Summit. So great to be here with this group of luminaries and practitioners. Just very briefly about MessageGears. MessageGears is a cross-channel customer engagement platform. We were built from the ground up to serve the world's biggest, most sophisticated marketers. So if you have millions and millions of customers, you have different needs and complexities that you have to deal with than if you have hundreds of thousands of customers or tens of thousands of customers. And so we build a product for you if that's who you are. So thank Home Depot and Best Buy and T-Mobile and OpenTable use us at the very center of their marketing stack to both segment activate and do channel execution across channels. MessageGears' first EIS was 2014. I joined MessageGears in 2016, so I actually wasn't there for that. Here is me, probably about 2017, with a beard, a gray beard as it looks like. But today, what is the buzzword of the day? AI. We're here to talk about AI. That is the topic du jour everywhere, but certainly topic of the week. But I will say this, because of AI and all the deep fakes, I do need to make sure there's no bots in the room. So I got a CAPTCHA here for you. So you need to click all the sidewalks. And as a matter of fact, I got a couple colleagues here going to be walking around with tablets. Celia, Dave, guys raise your hands. All right. No, I'm joking. We're not doing that. But we are talking about AI. And we're not the only ones talking about AI. This is actually a graph from Google Trends of searches for AI on Google. That red line's 12 months ago. Like, it's really astounding. So I think it's a very relevant topic for this group, obviously. But it got us thinking. We've been coming to EIS since 2014. And every EIS has a topic that we talk about. Solving for relevance with real-time content, next-gen messaging, success stories, balancing segmentation and scale, personalizing for context, mapping a multi-channel journey, searching for the next big thing. What are all these about? They're all about because we want to deliver relevant, personalized experiences at scale to our customers. So you would think with all this content, we've figured it out, right? Raise your hand if you've figured it out, how to do that, right? So that's why we keep coming back, because it's hard. It's really hard to do this. You know, and there's this topic du jour every time. Like, you know, the centralized marketing clouds are supposed to make life easier. And then CDPs. Now maybe AI? Actually, it actually might be AI. AI is really, really powerful. It actually could be the next big thing. But the thing to remember is that there's no one silver bullet. Right? There's an underpinning of foundation that you have to have as a marketer to do your jobs and to do them well. And the problem is the foundation that MarTech is built on is outdated for you that are super senders, for you that have millions and millions of customers and send billions of emails. The issues around syncing and copying, the heavy dependence on your engineering teams, limited channel activations across single platforms, and last and certainly not least, InfoSec compliance concerns are holding you back in ways that you can't do your job. You can't do it well. And if you're thinking it's not your job to worry about where the data comes from, I really hate to tell you that you need to worry about it at least a little bit, because how you have access to the data you know about your customers is what's holding you back. Most of us here in the room have a degree in workarounds, you know, to get over this issue. John Whitfield, we put you as president of the Workaround University. John's not paying attention to me. That's all right. Will Devlin, our VP of Marketing, put this together, and he made himself EIS FOMO. He's not here this week. So, but a degree in workarounds is what all of you have. Unfortunately, that's what most of the solutions that are presented are. And the life of an enterprise marketer is just frustrating. If you're launching a new campaign, again, millions of customers, billions of emails, if you're launching a new campaign with that environment in a company that has InfoSec concerns, you know, you have to request data from another group. They will give you back an audience count. It might be too big. It might be too small. You have to reiterate that. Then you come back, and then you have to get content from another team. You have to put it all together. Oftentimes, you have to iterate, and there's personal interactions, there's interdepartmental interactions. It takes a couple months to get a new campaign out the door tested, and where you can start to even iterate on that campaign. And so I'm sure this is how you all feel. It's like, I'm okay, not really. I'm really not. So a lot of the problems with these disjointed MarTech platforms that you are working with here, you're hoping that CDPs would solve. But according to Forrester, 10% of marketers say that CDP owners feel that their product meets their needs. And even worse, 1% think they're going to meet their future needs. Now, we're all very hopeful about CDPs being, well, God, my data's not in a good place, but the CDP is a place me as a marketer can go to and activate across channels as an easy user interface. But the data friction is just causing issues where it's not happening. So, damn, what are we going to do about that? By the way, if you haven't seen this clip of Kevin Hart and Don Cheadle, it's fantastically uncomfortable, but it's worthy of a minute of your time. But it's time to set a new standard. It's time to set a new standard of how we get your jobs done here. And it's got to be foundational. I want to reiterate, it's got to be foundational for you to really do your jobs better. Instant access to all your data in real time. It seems like a pretty fair request. Autonomy from IT. You guys are marketers. You're not engineers. You don't want to have to go to IT to try something new or to launch a new campaign or to run an audience. Unlimited dynamic content, unlimited capabilities. We call this dream and do. The ability to have an idea and to go do it because you have real-time access to everything you need to make that happen. Unique journey paths across millions and millions of customers. Campaign prioritization across not only multiple campaigns for individual users, but across channels for those users as well. And that bleeds into true cross-channel. Not only email, but real cross-channel, not just activating, but a single interface where you have a campaign that has multiple channels in it. You set it up, you can go by user preferences or your preference, who gets what message in what channel, what time of day, what day of week. And it shouldn't have to be this hard. Most of you in here are invested in a single source of truth. Not you, but your company has. You have your customer data that sits in a modern data warehouse somewhere. Snowflake, BigQuery, Azure, Amazon, Redshift, something along those lines. But here's what happens today. This is the disconnect. You have your data sitting behind your firewall. InfoSec's approved it. It has your customer's PII. But in your existing MarTech stack, you have to make copies of that data to all your MarTech vendors. You have to make a copy of that data to your ESP. You have to make a copy of that data to your CDP. Copy of that data has to go to your personalization vendors, has to go to your mobile platform. And so you oftentimes can't send PII outside of your customer data warehouse for very valid reasons. So then you end up working and doing segmentation and outside of your vendors, you do it behind your firewall. That's when IT gets involved. You have different versions of your data that live in all these different platforms, and it's a mess. It's an absolute mess. Now, one thing that's interesting that's come up that helps a little bit with this is there's this new reverse ETL category. Think vendors like High Touch and Census, and there's a few good ones. They just make it easier to move the data, just to be clear, but they don't solve the problem of not needing to move the data and all the inherent problems that creates when you're in your platform and you want to personalize to all the data you know on your customer, and that all that data you know on your customer is not in that platform. So this is the way it works today. As a brand, you have multiple SaaS providers, and you give each of them a copy of your data, and then it sits within their environment, and that's the data you see when you log in on their interface. The way of the future is where your vendors, you leverage your data where it lives behind your firewall, and that's what MessageGears does. We sit behind, part of our platform sits behind your firewall. Part of it is a SaaS environment, things that are easier to do up there and don't have to touch your customer data. But anything that touches your data lives behind your firewall, and that means you have access to everything in real time. It's just that simple. So that's how we're challenging the status quo at MessageGears. It's why some of the biggest brands in the world have said they're never going to go back to the way it used to be, because they can just do things faster and more efficiently. Never going back. So think about when you used to have triptychs from AAA. You had paper maps. The first time you pulled up Google Maps, you're like, I'm never going back to that. You used to have to stop on a road trip and make a phone call on a payphone, but as soon as you held your iPhone in your hand, you said you're never going to go back. before outdoor plumbing, this is what you had to do to go outside. Indoor plumbing is great, guys. It's fantastic. We should embrace indoor plumbing. And even if you can move your data better to your platform, is you still have to move your data. It's like you still have to go outside to take a crap. You shouldn't have to do that anymore. I thought that would be a big laugh line. So this is what MessageGears does. So think of us as living within your firewall. So you have a no-code user interface as a marketer that has access to all your data. You can make segments and hold out groups, run counts in real time, make content assignments, all within your database, but it's in an easy-to-use user interface that feels like a SaaS platform, even though it's actually looking at your live data. And then we activate that data across the channels we control: email, mobile push, in-app messaging, and SMS, but also any of your other marketing vendors as well. That could be direct mail. It could be one of social media. We activate massive amounts on Facebook and Google and otherwise. So you can activate any channel using MessageGears, using our Journey Builder. You can create these dynamic segments with real-time counts on your live data, not data that's a day or two or a week old that's sitting in one of your vendors, and personalize real cross-channel experiences. We really love our native products. Last year at this event, actually, we announced the acquisition of Swerve, a world-class mobile SDK platform to augment what we already did in email and SMS. And they and power some of the biggest brands in the world, so we together collectively power some of the biggest brands in the world. We're finalizing our integration of these products and launching our really kick-ass new UI in January, so excited to show all of you that. So basically, we've created the premier customer engagement platform. I mean, we've done it in a way that lets you leverage everything you need to be successful, for you to get your jobs done, for you to exceed expectations of those around you. Something really tangible, taking how long it used to take to put a campaign together, moving from 60 to 70 days, moving to a week. We have quotes from Expedia, who's a customer, and Home Depot in particular, who were on one of the legacy marketing clouds, who are like, it took me 30 days to get a campaign started. Now in MessageGears, it's 1 to 2 days, because everything's at my fingertips for the very first time. And the great thing about MessageGears is this really comes without a lot of trade-offs. MessageGears is generally less expensive because we don't have to store a copy of your data. It just costs us less money. We generally pass those along to you. But you also have more powerful tools to use, so you generally get more revenue. So 50% reduction in total cost of ownership and spend. And we've had customers with 70% higher conversion rates. Home Depot had 15% increase in email engagement and a 60% savings. OpenTable had a 20% reduction in total cost of ownership and a 15% customer lifetime value lift. Forrester says that we're 413% return on investment. And I'll quickly go through our AI capabilities. We're really excited. We've launched since this last event, native bespoke AI. And the great thing about MessageGears AI is that we work on top of your live data behind your firewall. So we have access to all your first-party data, PII and not, all your contextual data that lives in different places in your business that you don't give to your current customer engagement vendor. And we let you leverage that for AI across, we have 9 different models that we let you run from time of day, day of week, next best channel, everything from next best product to customer lifetime value, churn propensity, and you can combine these things. So think about lifetime value and churn propensity. You can move into a custom segment that you give your best offer to because they're your biggest risk customers that you want to make sure you keep because they have the highest lifetime value. And we're in beta right now with contact frequency. We get a lot of requests for this. By the user, how often do they want to receive your messaging and by what channel? So we have these models we run on your data behind your firewall so we can leverage everything with your PII, and we're seeing incredible lift with our brands. And again, our brands. We work with the biggest, most sophisticated brands in the world. If you aspire to be that, or that's what you are today, please talk to us. We'd love to help you get to where you want to go.